Welcome back to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. I'm Matt Perkins, joined, as always, by Badger legend, the Hebrew Hammer himself, Matt Bernstein. Bernie, how are we doing today?
Every day on the podcast is a holiday, young men. It's a great day. Sadly, we don't have a game this weekend for me to either watch or freak out about. But then I'm going to Madison on Wednesday, and I'm going to watch Washington live and in person. So I'm excited. Listen, it's still exciting to be a Badger football fan, no matter what the turmoil is, which is a big one. It's like a nuclear bomb exploded. Jake, you're going to help us out a little bit more. It's more like 25 of them blew up. It's more like the world, the apocalypse. But I'm still excited to go to Madison and watch football and drink beers and watch the Badgers play. Because no matter what's happening, guess what, Jake? I'm obsessed with them. Still. Promise.
Well, I know you are, and you're one of a kind, Bernie. I love you for that, my man. And I think it's another thing, too. I mean, one, you better call me up when you get into town so we can have like a beer or several.
No one's ever said, let's have a beer.
Yeah, a beer? Okay, yeah, we can. Okay, we'll be responsible.
We're not responsible.
It's not like what we were back at Wando's back in our day here off of State Street. We can't be that way, right?
No, that's not responsible.
Oh, well, as everyone knows here, we have, once again, being joined by our good friend Jake Kocorowski, Badger Observer, the best Badger newsletter out there. We absolutely love it. We love all the coverage he's been doing, not just of football, but of volleyball and basketball. And we're actually going to talk a lot of volleyball here a little bit later, but we got to start with the football team. Jake, it's been a rough season since we last checked in with you last month. I don't think they've won a game. I think we checked in with you right before the Alabama game, and since then, Badgers are 0-5, 0-6. I can't even remember.
0-6, yep. 0-5 in Big Ten.
Yep. So it's not going well there on the field. I don't even know where to start here. It looks like, all signs point to Luke Fickell returning to Madison next year, despite the poor results on the field. So Jake, in your estimation, what's the biggest fix that the team can find in this last month of the season to give some hope heading into the 26th season?
Let's start offensively. That run game against Oregon, the first half, like 90 yards rushing. They finished with 110 overall, so Oregon did something to clamp down with second half adjustments, what do you want to call it. They need to continue that. And what was impressive, I guess you could say, is like Davis Hines in that center, and that was with like a backup center. It was with a backup right guard, which I know Colin Cubberley started. Davis Hines started too this season, but you want Jake Renfro, and you want, it'd be probably better to have Kerry Kadenko just because of the experience a little bit and give Colin Cubberley some more seasoning, even though Cubberley, I regard him as a starter now because he's started multiple games. So I think if they can get that run game going through, and provide some things there would be good. You saw with, Gideon Atuka, like you're down. Gosh, I know Colton Bartholomew, had said that during the game. They said Katie Akimelli was going to be out the rest of the game. So you're down your three backs, right? Dylan Jones wasn't playing. Tim Brando said something that UW, responded to regarding the injury status. Darian Dupree, who, I think we've all been high on, but just things haven't gelled. So can they get the run game going? I thought Atuka looked really good, especially being downhill and just how he can get downhill. And he got the one cut burst, finds the hole. And I think that's the biggest thing is he's assertive and he just plows right ahead. And I think that would be something to look forward to. I think with defense, they have to get some turnovers, I should say, takeaways. All that stuff. Like that's how you play complementary football. And I think that's one thing that's, you haven't seen. The one thing you've seen with Wisconsin is they just haven't. The defense I think it has been improved, especially with the run defense. The last 3 out of the 4 games in October, that didn't necessarily help their stats overall with what Michigan and Iowa and now Oregon did in terms of total yards rushing, but that has improved in that category, the run defense. But can they get the takeaways? Can they put the offense in a shorter field? That's what complementary football is, right? So I think those two things, can you get takeaways there? And I think the third thing overall with this team is just, it's something that, I feel like there's been 3 C words, and not that C word, but 3 C words that Luke Fickell's talked about throughout this year. And that's competitive, any version of the word competition, competitive spirit, competitive nature, all that. Consistency has been another C word. But I think, the third one is complementary. And can you play complementary football? And he's talked about that this entire year. And so for me, it's like that. Those are the three things. Like run game on offense. Can you get that started? Because once you get that going, you start chucking the deep ball more because defenses, so I think that's big. 2, turnovers on defense. They only have 4 this year, I think it is.
I think that's right.
3 games. They had 12 last year, and that was unacceptable, by defensive standards. And the third one's just, can you play complementary football? And so those are the three
I'm so sick of hearing complimentary football. We've heard it so many freaking times this year, and I'm just sick of hearing that phrase because
the only C word I want to hear is chicken wings. That's it. Listen, let's be real. The defense is competing. The offense is not. Jake, I want to ask my one question because I know we want to talk about other programs, which is fine. You boil it down. I think this season's a wash. I mean, it's a wash. Everything you see is bad publicity, and it's not good. Like, Barstool's crushing us. Big Cat's crushing us. It's all over. People are like, JJ Watt, why don't you pony up? Like, it's gotten bad, man. My question to you is, let's boil it down. Let's refine it all. What else do we say? Chisel it.
Yeah, whittle it down.
Let's whittle it down. Let's keep doing all these metaphors. Here's my big thing that, my big nut that we have to talk about. They're backing Fickell for another year. The big powers that be, the money and Fickell and not Fickell and Einhorn and what's his name? Matt. They are backing. They are doubling down. I'm not a gambler. This is usually the time when you make a huge mistake, but we're doing this. So all this BS that I'm saying, you whittle it down. What can we possibly do to keep the program above board from sinking into the literal abyss? We have to recruit our guys again. Mason Posa said he's staying. I love to hear that, but I'm not really getting the vibe from everyone that's the reality. Not saying from him, but for this entire program and the guys and the team. What are these dudes? What are the coaches? What does everyone need to do for next year to be somewhat of a success?
I mean, I think it boils down to these last 4 games is just being another. It goes back to one of those C words: competitive. Washington comes to town. Washington's offense is very good. Washington's offense at home destroyed Illinois, which, by the way, Illinois comes to Camp Randall, 4 weeks from.
They competed against Ohio State,
right? And so that's the thing. You have to this team. It's what's hard to say is that you saw the building block against Oregon, and last year they played Oregon really well, the number 1 team in the nation. They played Penn State really well a few games earlier last season. What happened in those games thereafter? After the Penn State loss, they got crushed by Iowa in Iowa City. What happened after Oregon last year? You look at the fact that they got. We thought that could have been the tide turning. Nebraska destroyed them. Minnesota rolled over them. You see what happened against Michigan this year? Hey, they put up a fight after a bye week. Okay, so what's going to happen after that? They lose 37-0 to Iowa. To me, it's showing can you build upon and finally take the steps of, okay, they competed hard against Oregon. You saw some life on offense, not much. But you saw the run game start rolling and getting going. Okay, the defense played it's pardon my French, its ass off. And Ben Barton, who I will sing praises of for what he's done in midst of everything. Cooper Catalano, Mason Posa, the freshman duo at linebacker, Mason Reiger. I know Daryl Pearson had a bad targeting call. He'll miss the first half of the Washington game, but he's competed this season, right? And I think he's found a role in getting pressures on this defense too. But can you after this bye week, where you're 2/3 of the way through the season, and it's a perfect time for this, where guys could get some rest this week because people are probably banged. I mean, 8 games in, you already have 5 Big Ten games. It's been physical. You've had a gauntlet of schedule. Okay, you rest up. Can you go into Washington and take those building blocks of what you did against Oregon? Can you then take further steps? And then, I mean, I can't say about Indiana because what Indiana did against UCLA was nuts. So, and just like, and UCLA is this upstart. Hey, they've won 3 games. They have this interim coach. Everyone's feeling good. This quarterback's really, Nico's really good. 56 to 3? It was.
It wasn't pretty. It was.
But then, okay, so if you count Indiana as like a mulligan or whatever, because Crit Cignetti is stomping down on, people's heads and on their throats and not letting go, not letting up. But can you go against Illinois, where you have your former coach in Brett Bielema? Can you have a couple of former Badger players, a couple of former Badgers as coaches?
Mm-hmm.
Can you be competitive at home on Senior Day? And then you have Minnesota. Can you, with Minnesota, they got trounced on the road at Iowa, which was, I did not expect that coming. And that was Iowa very much followed a similar script to what they did against Wisconsin, against Minnesota. But can Wisconsin, who has a better rush defense, are they going to be, I always say this just at the end of the year for any team. It's not any insider info, but are they going to be, can they still be healthy up front? Right on the edge and up the middle? Can they stop the Minnesota run game because they have a young quarterback? And can they do something? Like I said, can they build off the Oregon game against Washington after a week off? And then whatever happens after Indiana, can they regroup against Illinois and take some steps against Minnesota? And so that's the big thing that I'm looking for these last 4 games. I think to me that would show recruits. I think that would show fans. I think that would show former players that, what's going on. I think that's the one thing, because we've hit the part where you've seen fans be apathetic. You're seeing the during the Ohio State game, the fans taking off their shirts and waving them in the air, right? Like what Oklahoma State fans have done in their dire straits. So you're seeing the uncertainty and the anxiety of the fan base and apathy, you could say, where you're seeing a lot of fans. It was hard during the Ohio State game to see who were Ohio State fans and who were the different shades of red were rough, y'all. And so for me, that's why I think for Wisconsin, it's got to be key to be competitive.
I don't disagree. It's got to be key to be competitive, but it's got to be competitive. It can't be a 31-0 game. It can't be a 35-7 game. Listen, I'm more frustrated because literally we're now just going to say we're just going to invest more in a product that's not doing well. It's so frustrating as a former player to keep hearing this, right? You're doing nothing to change besides throw money at it. And to me, that doesn't work for me. It's going to work, right? But you need the right people. Look at Indiana, look at Illinois, look at Iowa. They don't have a huge payroll. They're doing things because they literally have a culture built with a coach that is proven to do the work. He can do it, right? I don't want to call for people's jobs, but when you're making millions upon millions that I couldn't make in 800 years or more, I think it's time for maybe listen, so we don't need to get on the pillbox because we're not there, right, Matt Perkins?
Right.
We don't have to get on the pillbox. But I think I'll say this. I think the Minnesota game will be huge for us. I don't know if we compete in the next 3 games. And I don't even know if we compete at Minnesota. I want to see them compete, and I want to see them do well. I want to see them win. I think Washington's a winnable game. There's no time yet. If it's an early game for them, it's really early. If it's a late game, it's midday for them. It's a very hard transition, I think, to come to us to play. So I'm interested to see what that looks like. But if we can't put anything together for them, we're in deep doo-doo. And then I think if we lose the axe in a bad way, you can't just keep saying we're back in Fickell. The main powers that be are doing it. Everyone else is pissed. By the way, so my last on my soapbox as I play my little teeny violin, Jake. I'm coming to the game. I'll be in the stands. How many people do you think will be in the stands for Washington?
Well, I mean, that's the question that, I mean, I haven't had a chance to look at SeatGeek or StubHub or any of the secondhand ones.
Matt Perkins, right. You're so fast with this. His fingers are already going. I can see him. I can't even see him, and I can see him.
But that's the one thing.
Do you think 40,000 people actually in attendance? 50?
I mean, that's going to be something that, that's going to be worth monitoring, right? And like just seeing how this game goes. And I think that's the overall question too. I think it just as within this program right now, and it's one of the things I've asked. I had my 3,000 word essay / I'm not going to call it a manifesto, but it's just like the questions that Wisconsin had, it has with, through 8 games. And it's like, well, what if things don't get, what if we don't show, like, what happens if you're not competitive in these final
What if it's 21-0?
Section A, row 55, including fees on Vivid Seats, $11 a ticket.
Hey, Section A sucks though.
Yeah, section. Okay, so let's
show me RST.
RST. We're looking at
RST LNE. Do you have a buy vowel?
It's R $34. S $34.
But $34 right now.
T and $46.
I mean, dude.
Q $25.
I mean, and there's probably lots and lots of tickets. See, this is what frustrates me. For the dudes playing, it sucks to run into a stadium with. I ran into Northwestern and Indiana when they were horrible. Do you know how boring it is to look up and be like, golly, where's everyone? That never, like, it's sad that that's happening right now. I know we're talking way too much football, but dude, it could be 45,000 people. They're costing the Wisconsin economy an absurd amount of money, and they're doing nothing to change it. That's what I'm saying. Like, do we keep sitting here saying what's going to happen next week? What's going to happen? Yeah, dude, it was a monsoon. It's not going to be 100-0 like everyone said it was going to be at Oregon. It was did you see any of the pictures? It looked like it was raining up and down. Yeah. So, like, what happens on a good day against Washington? Our defense is playing a stellar. Like, I love watching them. But, okay, last question.
Yeah.
Are we ever going to get the truth about what's going on in the quarterback room?
I mean, it'd be irresponsible for me to speculate on anything just because I don't know, and not saying lack of trying on my end. I mean, I'm sure like everybody, every reporter, we're trying to, this is the type of time of where you're trying to figure out things, right? You're trying to confirm just what is, like you said, what is going on there. So for now, I will say I don't know, my friend. I wish I had that info for you because I would not only be talking to you on this fair, lovely, delightful, one of my favorite podcasts ever, but also like it would be up on BadgerObserver.com, which please still subscribe.
Yes. Okay, Matt Perkins, who do you think starts? Who do you think starts at quarterback?
I think Hunter Simmons starts.
I think Hunter Simmons starts. Jake, you don't have to say anything if you don't want to. Okay. Now, Matt Perkins, I'll also say that you're still showing me that we're stuck in a rut and we're not changing or doing anything different.
Yep.
Okay. Yep. Let's move on.
I mean, it's,
Matt Perkins, get on your
definition
pillbox.
of insanity, Bernie? Doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result.
It's like when I drink 10 beers, Jake. I'm like, oh, yeah, tomorrow I'll have a great day. But in reality, it's never a great day. And
so
then I do it again. It's called
the one question I have, and is that piqued me when I wasn't obviously at Eugene, but I guess the one question that I'll have is, and something that, I mean, we're obviously going to ask the quarterback questions on quarterbacks Monday when we talk to Luke, right? But the one thing that Luke had said after the Oregon game when I rewatched the press conference was, we need Danny to stick with us and stay with us and see how this thing rolls. And I guess like, I'm going to like, it's, and I guess for me, he said that, and he also said, like, I think right before that, he said that the team will need O'Neal down the stretch, right? Something along those lines. So I guess, that's going to be the question, is just who will get reps and go from there. And I think that's a big question. I think for also just, you see Posa and Catalano, and you see Atuka step up, just, who else, I guess
it's not time to save people. It's time to play your best players. And if Carter Smith's one of them, it's time to play him. If it's not, then you play the best guy you think. But like, guys, it's time to put your best talent. You are not safe. No one is safe at that place. What are you going to throw a lot of money at it? So then what? A coach is going to say, "Oh, I should go to Wisconsin so I can make a little bit more extra money," but then be fired the year after. It's like bananas. You're putting the cart before the horse, Matt Perkins. We should have points on this for metaphors.
I mean, if you're playing the metaphor drinking game, you're probably already drunk by this point. So
okay, we should move on, Matt Perkins. I feel like I've monopolized the football. I don't know why I'm in such a bad mood. I feel I had a lot of candy today. Like I dressed up. Like I'm really.
Okay, what was your Halloween costume? Now we got to know. We're stopping this. What was your Halloween costume?
Rhino from Spider-Man, like the little kids.
Are you serious?
Cartoon. Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay.
My kid's Ghost Spider, so I'm Rhino.
Okay. Nice.
Green Goblin, and Ruby's a little like pumpkin that Green Goblin throws because you can't really dress a little kid up in anything.
Hold on.
Dude, do you want to talk about? I miss what a Friday night used to be like, or a Saturday used to be like. I remember we used to have buys on Halloween for some odd reason, like 2 years in a row.
That's dangerous, man.
Dangerous.
We were in the same era. Mm-hmm. Like I lived off of State Street talking about those Halloween stories, and then the next morning seeing all the destruction. That was
outside of the debauchery. The funny things I remember about Halloween are I would get out of my apartment and look, my scooter would be gone. Like it would be 3 blocks away, like on the floor. Like every time there was some kind of party, my scooter it was a light one, so you could like pick it up and move it. I would put 2 different U locks on it, one on the back and one on the front.
Yeah,
and people would just pick it up and walk away with it, and then drop it somewhere. Hey, it still worked. One of those good memories of, like what are you gonna do with the scooter? You can't bring it inside.
Yeah, I lived right by the Samba off of Gilman and State, and then that was my junior year, and then the senior year. It was right up where Old Redeemer Catholic Church is off of Johnson and State, a little bit towards Carroll up there. And so I lived in a studio up there, and it just had to be careful, man. Cause that was,
can't have your windows open.
Oh yeah, no, yeah, you can't. Yeah. It was scary, where you're, not like scary, but it was enough where like, you remember just what transpired down there. And then they tried to clean it up. They don't really, what was it like? They had like concerts, I think 5 or 6 years later. My wife and I, when like we had like her sisters come up and.
Well, it got a little bit more aggressive when like people started lighting things on fire and throwing rocks through windows. I don't remember that happening when in like the early 2000s. I could be wrong, but I don't remember people. And you know who it was? These damn Iowans and Minnesotians would come in. Illinoisans, everyone from other places would come in and literally go banana. Like you see people, I love always looking at the paper and seeing who got arrested. And it was like all kids from different colleges and like a couple Wisconsin people. And nothing, it didn't really matter. But I think once the damage started increasing, the cops are like, this isn't, like.
Oh yeah, no, like when I was there, like my last year's in 05, 06, it got pretty bad.
Yeah, it was getting bad at that point. I'm not for that stuff.
That 05, 06 year, I was an RA in the towers, and I had a key to the roof of the towers that not even like the people knew about because I'd gotten it handed down from my previous RA who had gotten it from her previous RA. It was like this like secret key that only I had. And so I was able to get up on the roof and watch over State Street from the roof of the towers, which was actually really fun until the tear gas started coming. And then it wasn't.
Yeah.
And then it really wasn't as fun. I mean, yes, I was like 10 stories high or whatever not. So it wasn't like right in my face, but it gets to go in there pretty quickly. So
it rises.
It does rise, unfortunately. We all know how crucial your data security is. Delete Me makes it easy, quick, and safe to remove your personal data online at a time when surveillance and data breaches are common enough to make everyone vulnerable. Data brokers take your data and profit off of it. Your data is a commodity. Anyone on the web can buy your private details, leading to identity theft, phishing attempts, harassment, and more. But now you can protect your privacy with Delete Me. As someone who's worked in higher education for a long time, I know just how crucial data security is to make sure that student info stays private. But no matter what industry you're in, data security is one of the most important parts of your personal and professional life. So take control of your data and keep your private life private by signing up for Delete Me. now at a special discount to our listeners here on Believe in Badgers. Today, get 20% off your Delete Me plan by texting PRO, that's PRO, to 64000. The only way to get 20% off is by texting PRO to 64000. That's PRO to 64000. Message and data rates may apply. Hey folks, before we continue, I want to remind everyone tuning in that we continue to be proudly presented by Chris Anicetti and his entire team over at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. If you're a collegiate athlete or parent of a collegiate athlete navigating NIL opportunities, Chris and his team are here to help maximize your earnings and protect your future. We all know that athletes train hard to be the best on the field, but who's making sure they're winning off the field? Chris Anicetti and his entire team at Oak Bridge Wealth Management. That's who. They don't just manage your money. They handle your entire financial world. From building a rock-solid financial plan tailored for athletes to paying bills, budgeting, setting up LLCs, and securing financing for cars, equipment, and whatever else you need so that you can focus on your game. Your career is short. Make every dollar count. Oak Bridge Wealth Management, where athletes build lasting wealth. Get in touch with Chris on Instagram at oakbridgewm_Anicetti. That's oakbridgewm_ANICETE, or head on over to their website at oakbridgewealthmgmt.com. Chris Anicetti, Oak Bridge Wealth Management, they've been helping a lot of NCAA athletes and professional athletes get their money right. There's no one else better for this around that you are going to find. So make sure to get in touch with Chris and support the people who support us. All right, we're going to hop back into the show. So, but I want to move over to a team that is doing a little bit more successfully. Doing it more success. I can't even talk today. It's Friday afternoon, man. I am burnt out. Nonetheless, Jake, one of the coolest things about Badger Observer is your volleyball coverage, because I don't think we get a lot of great volleyball coverage around the program, especially in the mainstream media. And this is a program that's obviously done very, very well under Coach Kelly Sheffield. And they are currently ranked 11th in the country. I think, what are they, 16-3 or something like that right now?
Yep, 15-3.
15-3,
yep, 8-2
okay.
in the Big Ten.
And so let's just give a little bit of a primer for people maybe who haven't been following volleyball as closely. Maybe they're not reading Badger Observer yet, but they need to be subscribed to Badger Observer, because you're not going to get these insights anywhere else. Jake, how is the program sort of feeling about itself right now? I mean, honestly, ranked 11th in the nation is a little bit low for the standards that we've seen for this team over the past decade. So, what would you say is the state of the volleyball program as it stands here on Halloween?
I mean, I think it's with this team, and you talked about where it has been and where it is now. A lot of that's due to the fact that they brought in 10 new players in the offseason, right? There's no more Sarah Franklin, who All-American Big Ten Player of the Year. Who's close to my heart because she's Polish and I'm Polish American, Julia Orzel, who's now I think playing professionally in Poland, among Anna Smrek, who's 6'9" and was in the middle. You had also others that Devin Robinson. How could I forget her? So you had these familiar names that were there for years, right? And so you bring in 5 transfers, 5 freshmen, 5 highly regarded freshmen, and you also some good transfers. And so, yeah, I think you're dealing with that, and having 3 losses, the home loss to Southern Cal was interesting just because of, well, one, Charlie Furbringer, the All-American center, she's a sophomore, she's injured right now. There's really not much else to talk about in terms of timelines or anything that I know of yet regarding any type of return right now. But, they're 8-2 in the Big Ten, and the 2 losses were at Penn State and then the home loss to USC a couple weekends ago. This is a team too that, they've had to fight over injuries, right? Where Charlie Furbringer, All-American setter, she is able, she's so good at being able to pass within this offense that they have, where you can go to the outside to Mimi Collier, who, for those that don't know, she's All-American transfer from Oregon, is having an All-American, I would argue, Player of the Year National Player of the Year type run, and just what she's doing at the net and kills and just what she's been doing for this team. You also have, but there's also Carter Booth, who's in the middle. There's another middle blocker transfer in Alicia Andrew from Baylor, who's really played well. And then, but on the outside, Grace Egan, but she's also been injured. There's also been an injury on her end where she's finally starting to work her way back in. And a couple other players that you can go, whether on the side, in the middle, in the back, you can set to the back. Well, with Furbringer out, now you're seeing a freshman go into that setter role, Addie Horner. She's stepped up. She's looked really good. I feel she's starting to get more and more comfortable. She also got a pretty wicked serve. I'm not from Boston, but I would say it's a pretty wicked serve. And so she's starting to get more involved and getting more comfortable. She's also a freshman too. And so that's the one thing where this team, I think, is still, especially with injuries, because Grace Egan was out for a little bit. She came back from a lower body injury, but then also the key injury is to Charlie Furbringer, where you've had to have a freshman come in. But Addie's starting to get more comfortable, and we'll see just what happens going forward with this Big Ten schedule, where it goes through November, and this team continues to gel. And you saw some good results, in Washington and in Oregon, at Oregon last week too.
Yeah, Big Ten is definitely going through Nebraska this year too. Right. They're the number one team in the country. They're undefeated, and they look as strong as ever. They always have a good program there over in Lincoln. Let's talk a little bit more about Coach Sheffield, though, because you've gotten a lot of access to him. Football coach is hard to get access to. If you're reading Badger Observer, you know that Coach Sheffield is very generous with his time. And about having him come to practice. So what's it been like getting to know him a little bit better? And what would you say his management and coaching style are like?
Yeah, I think for me, he's very interesting just because, you can get him on the phone. You can talk to him after practice. We mingle a little bit more. I mean, I'm not saying it's just kind of the nature of the sport too, where you're able to talk to coaches like that a little bit more. I mean, football, Luke's got a lot going on, right? He's got an official. Luke Kelly's got an official press conference, usually on Mondays too. But this is a team that but Luke's also got 120 players right now, or however many they're allowed. There's technically 105, but they got grandfathered in, so there's more than 105 players on the football roster right now. But you have with volleyball, lot smaller roster, but also you're able to talk with him, and he's very good with his time. And you're able to after the interview, you kind of sit and talk, and you're able to it's a little bit more intimate, I would say. Just I think it was also based on the environment. Like, we're in the field house, right? It's a lot different from Camp Randall Stadium, where it's such a big edifice. This is field house can be rocking. I think that's what's really makes Wisconsin volleyball really interesting, because you're playing inside a very contained environment, and it goes up, right? So you have the second second level, and and so it can get packed, and so I'm very intrigued. When are we recording? When is this going up? Is it going up?
This will be up today. They're playing. They're playing Nebraska tonight.
I'll be there at Nebraska tonight, and so I expect a rocking house. But with Kelly, I mean, he's very generous with his time. If you have questions in terms of and all that, he is very. You can talk to him and you'll get the answers. And I think I think what's really cool though too is this is my first year really covering volleyball. And when you cover volleyball, there's a lot of things, and Matt Perkins and I have talked about just what is a hit percentage. When Kelly talks about pins, what does pin hitters mean or whatever? And you're just like, because you see it in volleyball, such a cool game, male or female volleyball, right? Men's or women's volleyball. But within women's volleyball, you're seeing the popularity starting to grow. Mm-hmm. You're seeing it's exciting, right? The athleticism of diving for a ball and getting, I think they call it a pancake, where you stick your hand up, right? On the bottom, right before it hits the court. So it bounces up it's for a dig. So you do that. That's awesome. And you see the spikes and just the serves and the top serves. It's an exciting game. Even when I wasn't when I was at the State Journal, that wasn't my beat, but it was, need something to watch on a Friday night or something, nothing's on. It's like, okay, let's put on volleyball, and you just see the athleticism. So the game's growing. I think Kelly's one that he definitely recognizes that. And he's very generous with his time and availability to, and I've been very grateful. Obviously we're all objective, but it's fair to say I'm also very grateful for them making players available, making himself available to get some of the stories. I feel bad I haven't done too many stories on volleyball with everything going on with football, but that'll be changing next week and going forward too, especially with, they're in their final month of the Big Ten schedule before NCAA tournament talk for volleyball, and that's going to be huge too.
Talk to me more about Coach Sheffield's use of the portal and his recruiting, because I feel like he has done a good job of finding the people, the individuals who he wants and needs, not just like filling a gap somewhere.
Yeah, I think, and it's different with, and the transfer portal is so interesting with any sport right now, right? And I think he does a good job. And I think you should also not just lump in Kelly into it, but just someone like Gary White, who is now the director of player personnel and the director of analytics. Because if y'all go to BadgerObserver.com, I had something up earlier earlier in the season talking to Gary about just some of his responsibilities, and it dives into player retention. Revenue share and NIL is part of the volleyball game, especially in the Big Ten. That's arguably the best conference in the nation for volleyball. And so, there's you see how I don't know the intricacies of how they really dive in or particular players, but they do go in and look at, I would say, who they have and what they need to go, to improve as a team. And it's a group effort between, Kelly's a part of it, obviously, but Gary White plays a huge role and whatnot. So that's one thing I really want to dive into, especially, the signing day for volleyball and men's basketball is coming up this upcoming month too. So it's going to be talking about just how, so like that's part of our coverage at Badger Observer is just kind of figuring things out of like, okay, how do we cover this better too? Because, you have the high school recruiting come up, but then it's going to be, okay, transfer portal is going to open up at some point after the season. And like how, it's each sport's different in its own way, but you do tell that, you see Kelly, he puts out on Twitter, bingo, that's his little bat signal, as we said, like, I haven't seen Luke Fickell really do it lately on his Twitter account, but you've seen.
What do we used to do? Fire the cannon?
Yeah. Or they do this thing where it's like firework where he's on the phone over Camp Randall Stadium and then it turns into fireworks. Kelly does, you hear it bingo, bingo. And that tells you that's a commitment, whether it's high school or whether it's
the portal.
Portal, what you have to figure out.
Yahtzee.
But, yeah. You do that.
That would be mine.
Yahtzee.
Love Yahtzee. What a good game.
I would do like the champ kind with Anchorman. Do whammy. Whammy.
Matt Perkins.
I'm keeping it simple. Ric Flair.
Woo!
Woo! Yeah. Gotcha. But I would say, they approach it. I think they've been very successful with it though, because you've seen who they've brought in. Like Carter Booth was from Minnesota, and she's come in and she's been a multi-year transfer. You've seen also someone like I know Mimi Collier, I think if I'm not mistaken, is a senior, and I think Alicia Andrews a redshirt senior. But you're seeing others that have come in that can play multiple, years too. Sarah Franklin was the same way, where she came from Michigan State, but she played multiple years at Wisconsin. So, I would say, also argue they're not just looking for rentals, right? They're not like a 1-year rental. Like I would argue Luke Fickell didn't want to do that too at the beginning of his tenure, where you saw guys like Will Pauling or others that had multiple years of, Joe Huber had multiple years of availability. Yep. So you had those guys that, you're not just there for a 1-year rental. You're there to try to make sure that, they can develop in that program too. And I think you've seen that too with, Grace Egan is a redshirt sophomore as well. And her role should continue to grow too. And so, and then they have Grace Lopez, who's injured. And Kelly Sheffield said, I think it was earlier this month, that they were planning on like bringing her back, but she had an injury in the spring, and she was a transfer, I believe, from Miami. And so we'll see what she does, coming up next year. So, but yeah, that's one thing I really want to dive into more too at Badger Observer is just like the intricacies of the portal in volleyball, and just everyone talks about the football stuff, but like especially in the Big Ten, it can make a huge difference for each program each year.
All right, Jake. Well, we'll get you out of here on this. It is Halloween. What's your favorite Halloween candy?
Ooh, Milky Way all the way. Like Reese's is number 2, right? Reese's, that's a solid number 1. Everyone loves it. I love chocolate peanut butter. Can get a little bit stale. Give me Milky Way. I love the nougat and the caramel and make it. I like, honestly,
Milky Way's good. Milky Way's good.
I actually like the midnight.
Those are good too.
Yeah, they call it dark chocolate. It's not really dark chocolate. It's just, what I'm saying. But it's like, but it's got the white filling and the caramel, man. Perfect. So that's my go-to. But I am also M&M's too. It's just easy. You pop in some coated chocolate and you roll from there.
I mean, I'm a Swedish Fish guy. Swedish Fish are my favorite candy in the world, but they're not really a Halloween candy. On Halloween, I love
movie theater candy.
100 Grand and Crunch are both are right up my alley. And yes, nice. I am one of those people who loves candy corn. So I know Matt Bernstein hates candy corn, and that's okay.
I'm indifferent.
That stuff is so okay. Let's not go there.
No,
let's not go there.
We already went there. We went there earlier this week. That was fun to talk about. Nice.
Just eat. We're all fat guys on this. We're going to eat any candy you put in front of us.
Dad tax is in full effect this week.
Full effect. Even like things that you don't want to eat. You're like, you know what? Yep. I don't want my kid to. My favorite is I don't want my kid to eat it. So guess what? I'm going to eat it. And it's. Mm-hmm.
My favorite is that I'm married to an elementary school teacher, and she brings home so much candy from the kids for when they do their candy share.
Well, she's feeding her kid candy.
I mean, no. So she doesn't give. Well, I mean, I am. Yes.
There you go. There we go.
You got it.
I saw you, my friend.
Yep. Exactly. All right. Well, Jake, we can't thank you enough. As always, stopping back with us monthly like you do. We love you, and we love Badger Observer. There's a link in the show notes to subscribe to Badger Observer. There's in every show because we love and we preach about Badger Observer all the freaking time here because you're the freaking best, man. Like, we absolutely love your coverage. We love everything you do. Make sure you're following Jake on all the social medias as well. We'll be back again next week. Bernie and I will have a Monday morning fullback, even though that there was a bye week. We'll be looking forward to the Washington game before he heads out to Madison. And we'll, as always, we're here. Thanks for tuning in to Believe in Badgers on the Believe Network, presented by FanDuel and Oak Bridge Wealth Management. And until next time, like always, on Wisconsin.
On Wisconsin.